upload it later. And it seems like it doesn't want to work for me today. Oh well. So I apologize. If you usually go on YouTube to watch, I will upload for you. All right, so excited to talk about day 5 today. I cannot believe this is day 5. And yeah, so yesterday, we started the temperature section. So as you know, in the book, well, some of you may not know, but the book has different sections. So we went through the first section, which is talking about our environment. And now we're talking about temperature, just going a little bit deeper. And yesterday we started talking about how emotions are basically the temperature of your internal environment. And this is where we're focusing a little bit more today. And really, as I started a bit alluding to it yesterday, there is a difference between emotions and feelings. And so emotions are much more automatic and spontaneous and very often physiological. And the feelings are really states of minds that usually that we have, and those are perceptions usually about the emotions that we're experiencing. Okay, so it's important to distinguish between the two because it's harder to change an emotion, especially on the spot, but a feeling is easier to set the stage. So I feel like feelings set the stage for emotions. And so if you're constant in, really like being aware and intentional about how you feel, then your emotions will catch up eventually. Sometimes it takes a long time, and it takes work as well, to and as I said yesterday, when I say work, I don't want, because a lot of the times, when I work with people or, when I start talking about these things with people, sometimes they're like, oh, it's just too much work. But the thing is, it's like a muscle, when you go into the gym because you need to work that muscle. And, many times people that are really into fitness and, all about the physical body, which is really important. Yes, there's work to get that muscle to where you want it to be. It's just normal. So, it's the same kind of thing when it comes to your emotions and feelings and, what's happening internally. You have to set aside time for it. But when you do that, eventually it gets easier and easier and lighter. Just like when you're, doing those reps, right? When you're in the gym, you're doing your reps, you know what I mean? Like it's normal that at first it's like, right? But it gets better, I promise. So that is really where you need to situate yourself, okay? And so, and one of the reasons why it's so important before I do the reading is because a lot of the times people are aware of where you're at before you, which is a problem, because some people can sense and feel and notice when they encounter you that, okay, this person is dealing with this or is feeling this, or, there's some, like pent up emotions, or there's some stuff underneath that, right? In Creole, which I don't know if any of my Haitian peeps are watching right now, in Creole, we call it anguille sous roche. Okay, so means that there's stuff underneath that has not been addressed, and it's actually like transpiring, and other people can see it, they can feel it, but they don't want to talk to you about it because it feels like, It's like a time bomb sometimes, like, so they don't want to like step on the grenade, you know what I mean? So that's why it's important for us, for ourselves, to really be in tune with what's really going on and address things at the root, right? All right. So the goal of the 21-day challenge is to help you to actually, start that process, right? Because the book is about, doing one a day, okay, one reflection a day. And so that's what we're doing in this 21-day challenge, all right? Okay, let me start reading before I run out of time. Okay, reflection 5, your emotions and feelings. Our body, this is a quote from Inspirational Words of Wisdom, which is the person that said it is called Mali Mali Apple. Okay. Our body translates our thoughts into chemical and physical responses that we experience as emotions. In other words, emotions are the body's response to the thoughts we think. Nicely said. All right. Another quote by Thibaut Meurice. I know I'm messing up all of these authors' names, and I apologize profusely. Okay, so knowing how you feel is the first step toward taking control of your emotions. Love that. That is so well said as well. All right, today we continue with the discussion on temperature. The internal and external environment interaction shows in our emotions and feelings. So, when you do this self-awareness exercise about looking at where we're at inwardly, those are the two things we will encounter: emotions and feelings. In that regard, it's essential to understand the difference between emotions and feelings. Again, Brandon, which I talked about Brandon Buchard yesterday, so of course, if you haven't read the book, please go and get it. It's very good. So he talks about this in his book, page 69. He says emotions are very automatic and sometimes very physical and spontaneous. It's really about reaction or reacting. A feeling is seen more like an emotional state. It's what your interpretation of that emotion is. So, a feeling is much closer to a belief, and it is something you can choose more readily than an emotion. So, today, think about this distinction. Can you see the distinction between an emotion and a feeling? Can you distinguish that within yourself? All right, so this is reflection 5. So, getting good at really being intentional about getting that difference, understanding that difference, because that difference can be a world of difference between what I can experience and what somebody else can experience, right? But again, the goal is for you to be able to know it, sense it, and then manage, knowing what internal and external environment you need in a given time to make sure that you are not reacting in a way that is harmful, not only for yourself, but also for other people. And so being in touch with our emotions and feelings is just as much for us than for other people, right? And so a typical, for example, okay, let me give you a really quick example before we give the challenge. So an emotion can be like, I feel like my heart is racing and, just before I speak, for example, that used to happen to me a lot. you know, just in, of course, public speaking, the butterfly in the stomach, the little anxious feeling before you get started is normal. But, when you sort of, if you want to grow past that, you need to be in touch with what's really going on, right? So, yes, your heart is racing, and then the feelings like I'm anxious, right? So, what you can do is reframe that feeling and, oh, I'm excited. Oh, okay. So this means that I care about what I'm about to do, what I'm doing, and I'm ready. You see, you see the difference? Like the emotion is still there, the physiological response is still there, but the feeling about it, you can learn to shift it so that it becomes positive instead of negative, right? And tomorrow we talk more about beliefs because truthfully, feelings are sort of symptoms of beliefs. So this is why it's important to also do, the introspection regarding beliefs because beliefs are powerful. But let's not get into that today. All right. So let's go for the challenge. This is your 5th challenge. All right. So you're going to reflect on a recent situation where you experienced a strong emotion. And then you're going to write down what that emotion was. Okay. And then the feeling that was associated with the emotion. Okay. And try to think about, what thought process actually contributed to that feeling. All right. And then you're going to try to find one way that you want to shift that feeling or that thought process in order to facilitate the emotion that you actually want if it's a negative one. All right, that's all I got for you today because it's 9:15. So we shall see you tomorrow. Take care.